Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Krystle Clear podcast. I am so excited to welcome back to the show someone who is truly one of my favorite people, Morgan Goodwin. Morgan is a writer, a mother, a wife, and a woman of deep faith who has turned some of life's most painful moments into a message of hope. Her book, Incompetent but Hopeful, is out now, and it's a raw, faith filled testimony about pregnancy, loss, grief, and the kind of hope that shows up even when you feel completely broken. Morgan, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here today.
Thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm
When
so
did your
excited.
book officially launch?
January of 2026.
January. Okay.
Yep.
New year, new book.
New year. I remember us sitting here last year talking about it, and I told you one of my biggest goals last year was to finish my book and get that going.
And
I did.
Ugh,
I did it.
That's so amazing.
I'm so
Congratulations.
excited. Thank you so much.
So we'll get straight into it. The last time you were on the show, the book was still being written. Now it's out in the world. What does that feel like?
It truly feels like my testimony is out in the world. Like in my title, Finding God's Purpose through loss and holding on to hope. I found my purpose, which was telling my story and getting my story out there so that other women can actually see that they're not alone.
Right.
And so for me, it was a relief, you know. I felt very relieved. I felt like a weight was off of my shoulder that I can share this and be vulnerable. And just praying that this book can help someone else on the other side who is dealing with something like what I dealt with or dealing with it, and just encouraging them to keep going.
I feel like so many women suffer in silence. Did you find that, like, were you journaling? Is that like something that have been doing throughout the process, or was kind of writing and releasing in that way new to you?
So it's very funny. I was suffering alone.
Yeah.
With my husband being in the NFL, we announced, and it was very public, that we were having a baby. And then I had to announce that we were not having our baby. And so it was so public, and I was suffering in silence.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed. I felt like just not worthy enough. And then I eventually started journaling and just telling everybody what happened. You know, I started my blog, Incompetent but Hopeful. Yeah. And from blogging, I turned my blog basically into my book. And I'm so thankful that I decided to blog my journey. After finding a lot of other women going through the same thing and having the same condition I have, incompetent cervix. And just finding out we have these group or these communities that all of these women were dealing with the same thing. And so I'm like, okay, I need to let everyone else know what we're dealing with and share like that there's a community of women who have incompetent cervix, and this is what's happening to us. And a lot of people do not know about this condition. I mean, people even in the medical field are like, I've never heard of this. And I'm like, yeah, I have a weak cervix, and halfway through my pregnancy, my body basically goes into labor, and I don't feel anything.
Wow.
No symptoms, no cramps, no nothing. My cervix just opens up silently, and it's a very silent thing. It's nothing really that you can do about it except take preventative measures.
Right.
But if you don't know,
yeah,
you don't know to take the preventative measures.
Right. Yeah. The title Incompetent but Hopeful is so powerful. Where did that come from, and what does that mean to you personally?
So incompetent but hopeful. Incompetent came from me having incompetent cervix. I felt like I was incompetent. I was an incompetent woman who could not do what a woman was supposed to do, which was carry and keep my baby safely in my womb until it was time to deliver at full term. And my cervix was incompetent. And so that's where I got that from. And then I said, I'm incompetent, but I'm hopeful that I'm hopeful in God's plan for me. And I'm hopeful that God is going to, gift me with the ability to be able to bring life into this world. And he did. And my subtitle is Finding God's Purpose Through Loss and Holding On to Hope. And I found my purpose. It's very funny. I grew up not liking like language arts and social history and all. I did not like those courses. I was a math and science girl. I wanted to be a veterinarian growing up. And so going into college, I started off in a school of science at UT, and then I ended up switching over to the comm school. So, and I got my degree in public relations, a bachelor's of science in public relations. And I found an affinity for writing.
Okay.
And telling a story and being able to produce good writing and marketing and different things and filming. And I got into filming and photography, and I just loved it. And so I never saw, like I said, I was a math science girl. I never saw me becoming an author.
Yeah.
And so my purpose now is to empower women and encourage women to keep going and know that they're not alone and their feelings are valid.
Right.
Going through loss and pregnancy loss and infertility and IVF and all of the things I've dealt with. And so I can write about it and actually share what I had went through. And a lot of people would definitely feel the same thing and be able to relate.
Oh, of course. I mean, it does feel like this responsibility as a woman, right? If you have a longing to be a mother, like for me, I've always known that my greatest job and role and gift in life would be to be a mother, right? Some women don't feel like that.
Right.
And while others do, they have this very strong calling. They know that's what they want. And so to have that and then to not be successful in it, like the pressure, and then to actually get pregnant. And then you hear a lot about women that don't really want children or never wanted to be a mother, and then they get pregnant, and then that loss is a whole other layer and level of grieving, because then you're actually like, wait a minute, I do want to be a mom. I did want this baby and I can't. So there are so many different like layers and levels of grieving and of loss that you don't know until you actually experience it. So it's so meaningful and it's so powerful to be able to share your story with other women, because so many of them do suffer in silence. They have the shame, or they even feel like they don't have a community that they can talk to. And what was like after your first loss, do you feel like you had a team of doctors that helped educate you, or do you feel like a lot of it was you on your own, just trying to understand what is wrong with me and how can I prevent this in the future?
I'm so glad that you asked that question, because I honestly felt like, yes, the doctors were on my side and pushing for me to take preventative measures. I did not like the preventative measures that they were offering, because after joining the Abby Loopers group, the community of women who also have incompetent cervix, I realized that they were offered the preventative cerclage as well. And they also had a loss from those. And so I wanted to take matters on my own and go a step further and get the transabdominal cerclage. And that was a procedure where you don't get the cerclage during like the 13th or 16th between those weeks of pregnancy. You get it before you even get pregnant.
And what is that?
So they basically cut you open like a C-section, and they stitch your cervix up at the top. Yeah. So the internal cervix is closed off with a stitch, and that is to help prevent you from funneling down, meaning your cervix is supposed to stay closed.
Right.
And when you start to funnel, that means it's opening from the top down. And so it starts to make like a V and then a U and gets wider and wider. By the end, your cervix is sorry, my alarm going off. Why is that going off?
Your cervix is like thinned out and opened up essentially.
Yes, and you don't know. So, what was the question?
Advocating for yourself, because I feel like there's such a discrepancy too with like Black and brown women. You know, like you hear about mortality during birth rate being so much higher in the Black community. Did you feel like you had to advocate for yourself?
I totally had to advocate for myself. Even though I had the doctors pushing like, oh, you'll be good with a preventative cerclage, I was like, no, I'm going beyond you, and I'm going to go and I'm going to get the transabdominal cerclage, because I want to make sure that I bring my babies in this world and that I bring them in full term and healthy as can be. And I ended up going to a doctor in Dallas. I had a option to go to a local doctor. When we were living in Dallas, I went to the local doctor because he would place the transabdominal cerclage laparoscopically, which is using the little robot hands. And so I got it done like that, and that one failed me. And so then, now that you're asking me, do you feel like, you know, doctors were kind of, or just, you know, I'm like, I don't know about that doctor.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did that to me on purpose. You know, it can kind of feel like that. And it feels like the world is against you at that point. Because now I was dealing with a second loss with my twin boys after getting the transabdominal cerclage. And the stitch was weak. It was so easy for them to remove. When they removed it, they said, oh, it wasn't even tight at all. And so this is why you started contracting. You were opening up. And I was so pissed. I was so upset. I called that doctor. They called the doctor. My doctors had called that office, and they were like, this is the first time that this has ever happened. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know. Because I mean, in my head, I'm like, well, is it because of my skin that he did this to me? But, you know, you never know. And I just try not to be so negative about it.
Right.
And just keep pushing. That's another thing that women have to go through. We always have to be strong and fight and push through and kind of give people the benefit of the doubt. And that's kind of what I had to do. And so I took matters in my own hands after I had my second loss with my twin boys. I ended up going to the doctor in Chicago. Okay. That was the one that I ultimately wanted to go to the first time, but I didn't because insurance would not cover it. Insurance will not cover the transabdominal cerclage procedure. They think it's an extreme measure, and so I would have had to pay out of pocket. I did pay out of pocket, $7,000 for the surgery, just to, you know, have that surgery done. On top of that, I had to pay for my flight and my hospital.
Wow.
I mean, not hospital. I had to pay for my flight and my hotel. Wow. That, and I wanted to stay at the hotel that was attached to the hospital, which was the Four Seasons. I'm like, okay, now the bill is extremely high, but I'm going to get this baby.
That's right. You're like, look, in the big scheme of things, it's a small price to pay, you know, for healthy pregnancies.
Exactly.
And sure enough,
from
that point forward, right, you were able to successfully
placed my cerclage. He placed 3 of them, actually. He said my cervix was nice and long internally, that he was able to place 3 of them at different levels, and so I would not have any problems delivering a baby. He said I can deliver 5. I can have quadruplets if I wanted to. My cervix is not going nowhere. And I believed him. Yeah. And something about him, his aura, his bedside manner, his confidence, I just knew I was going to bring. Yeah. And still to this day, I keep in touch with Dr. Haney. I sent him a picture on the OR table, we take a picture with
Yeah.
me, my husband, the baby,
I love
and
it.
my OBGYN will take a picture,
Yeah.
and I'll send it to him every time we have a child.
That's
And
beautiful.
he is amazing.
Yeah. That's incredible. What is his name?
Dr. Haney.
Okay, Dr.
Mhm.
Haney, we got to give him
Dr.
a shout out.
Man, Dr. Haney,
Ladies Fly
shout
Chicago.
out. Well, you know, he has another doctor that took over for him, Dr. Douglas. She was practicing under him when he was preparing to retire. So Dr. Haney is retired.
Okay.
And I'm so blessed to have gotten into his chair. I think he retired maybe about 2 years after I had Murray.
Wow.
And so I'm like,
God bless
thank
him.
you, Jesus.
Yes, that's
I
amazing.
called him. I got him. See.
So now that the readers have had it in their hands, what has been the response been like? And what has the response been like? Has anything surprised you?
Nothing really surprised me because I knew a lot of women, you know, it's just something that we carry deeply and almost secretively because we feel like we're embarrassed or, you know, growing up, I always talk to like my elders and they always say, man, we didn't used to talk about this.
Yeah.
You know, we kept it silent. We didn't share that information. And you guys now, new days, we're sharing our information. We're on social media and now we're finding out like, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one that goes through this. And so I'm not really, really surprised because I found a community of women who were sharing and women coming up to me and saying, oh my gosh, your book is so amazing. I'm just so thankful that you wrote this book. You made all my feelings feel so valid, and I know I'm not alone.
Right.
And a lot of women were raving about the journal portion of the book. They were like, I absolutely love this journal reflection questions because it actually makes me have to sit down and process my grief. And so that was like, oh, I had a couple of people say that and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I added the journal. It was something that I wish that I would have, you know, had.
Right.
And so in the beginning of my book, I say, this is the book that I wish I had when I was dealing with my loss.
Right.
And so I wanted to be able to provide what I felt like I needed and what I felt like all the other ladies dealing with miscarriage, infertility, stillbirth, pregnancy loss could use.
Right.
And be able to process. And it's super educational as well. You start learning things and you start putting pieces together and you can go back and say, oh my gosh, this might have been what something that that I had dealt with, or my best friend, like I need to go get her this book.
Right.
Because I think she dealt with this.
Right.
And then you start asking questions
realize.
And you start learning and just connecting and bonding with each other. So I'm not really surprised because like I said, this was something that I wanted, you know, dealing with my loss.
Morgan, it's so, the comment that you made about our elders, it's so true because like I was just thinking in my head, man, both my mother and my aunt had like multiple, I think 5 or 6 miscarriages, multiple. And my mother had a couple. Who did they talk to? How did they process? You know, and back then too, I think husbands were very like macho and busy working and providing. And so the likelihood of getting that support from their spouses was, I imagine, very slim. And then, you know, were they talking to their mothers about it? Probably not.
No. Because you know what? I found out after I was in the hospital dealing with getting a preventative cerclage, my mom was like, oh my gosh, I had to have a preventative cerclage with you and your sister. I lost a baby before I had your oldest sister. And I'm like, Mom, why didn't you tell me so that I can know what's like for me to be prepared so that I can even think or ask questions?
Yeah, like my mother experienced
oh my gosh.
That's so true. In addition to like the grief factor, freaking talk to us about it so we know how like can look out for that and know what questions to ask.
Or even tell my doctors like, hey, my mom had to have a preventative cerclage. Can we do anything to get extra checks and stuff? And so I know my husband is probably happy that we only got one daughter. He actually wanted all boys.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay,
now
I am explaining to my daughter what happened to me already.
Yes.
She is understanding what an angel baby is and that she has angel brothers in heaven watching over her. So it's like the beautiful thing of education and educating our daughters and our children of what we're going through so that they know that they won't ever have to feel alone. You can always come to me and talk to me about anything. This is absolutely normal.
Right.
Miscarriage happens 1 in 4 women. Like stillbirth happens, and I don't know the statistics with stillbirth, but there's a long history of scientific data that can back up, education. I mean, it's just educating us.
Our parents come from that generation of not sharing, and I still see that cycle in my family today. There's so much that they're like, oh, well, let's not tell abuelita, because they want to prevent my grandmother from being stressed out, which I get at some level. But at the same time, it's just like, and I even find our younger generation try to shield things, and I'm like, hell no. Like, you better tell my mom, you better tell my aunt, like, they need to be included in this conversation. Like, but it's a generational thing that it's like, well, let's break that because communication is key. And most importantly, when it comes to your health, that's
definitely.
Yeah. It's being proactive. It's helping prevent issues in the future, especially with our children. So we just keep getting better and better, right? And breaking the generational cycles. But, oh my God.
No, seriously. It's just like a father or a grandfather passing away from prostate cancer, but never telling, nobody telling the son, like, oh, your dad actually passed away from, and then now you could have prevented it and caught it early.
That's the other thing too with cancer. I have all these great aunts, that have passed from cancer. They didn't have to, but they were like held everything so close. It was like, you were weak, you were vulnerable. They caught it when it was too late. And they should not have died from breast cancer. It's so sad. So thank God we are far more communicative now and
speaking up and advocating for ourselves. It just goes back to history. We couldn't say back in the day, women, we didn't have a voice, So I think that stems from that. Like, we need to be quiet.
Right.
We don't need to say a word. We should just be grateful type stuff, and I'm so glad that we're becoming into ourselves and being able to speak up and advocate for ourselves now.
And each other.
Yes.
Oh,
definitely.
So true. You wrote about losses that happened in November. What is it like navigating grief during the holidays, and how have you learned to hold both grief and joy at the same time?
So every year, November comes around. It's iffy. I just take it one day at a time. And I do hold grief and joy in the same space we can sit back and we can laugh and remember things together and try to keep our mind off of the negative and just kind of uplift each other and stay busy. My husband, I even mentioned it in my book, so he dresses in all white during November. And it's a month of purity and awareness and self-awareness and just being very intentional, being clean, just being so self-aware that, I mean, when I tell you this man don't spill nothing on white, I mean, I don't know how he do it. And we
It's
got
a
3
guarantee
kids.
that I'm spilling this shirt.
And
It's a
I'm
guarantee
like,
it's getting
I
dirty.
am going to have a hole in my lip. I'm going to take a sip of coffee and I'm going to have a dot.
Yes.
Okay? Like, I don't know how he does it, but he is so amazing. And just us doing that, we're celebrating the life that we have now, and we're celebrating the life that we went through. So going through all this pain, turning it into joy, and looking at our beautiful kids in their faces and just being like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I only want the best for you. And we really, really come together during that month. Because it can be hard sometimes. You know, holidays come around, and I just remember November, my husband's birthday. We had a loss right before. Then after my husband's birthday the next year, we had our loss with our twin boys the week after. And then Christmas comes up, and you're supposed to be holding babies at Christmas time. And so it's just a wreck sometimes, you know. And it is what it is, but we just keep moving, you know. Just keep going.
My dad died on Halloween, and it'll be 16 years this year. Yeah. And it's interesting. I truly believe like time heals all wounds. And I think, you know, talking about loved ones that have passed, it's like keeping their spirit alive. I love it. You know, even if I'm like an emotional and I cry and people are like, we don't have to talk about it. And I'm like, no. I want to talk about it.
We can laugh about
what's keeping their memory alive. Like, I love it. But Halloween, it used to be so challenging and difficult, you know, at least the first few years. And then now it's like a celebration. It's such a fun, now that I have a son, it started with my nieces. And so my sister and I would always be together, and we'd take my nieces and nephew trick-or-treating. And then now that I'm a mother, you know, my son's a part of it. So now it's turned into like a really beautiful, special
bringing
thing.
family together, starting new traditions. It really does.
We light my dad's candle. We'll watch his video of his like memorial, and it's a beautiful thing now. It's tough, sure, but there's more joy in it, and we, you know, celebrate it more. So I get that.
Yeah.
So you've said that healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering with hope instead of despair. When did that shift happen for you?
The shift happened, I would say, after my rainbow baby. I was such in just a bad space, even if I would cover it up.
Yeah.
You know, I was in a bad space because I was yearning to be a mother, like, and so just dealing with all of the loss, even the anxiety going through with my pregnancies. And so it was never really a up for me. Everything was kind of a down. Now it's close when I started approaching delivery day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe this happening. This feels so so surreal. Like, I don't even know if this is real. Like, pinch me. I like got sick before giving birth, and this was like COVID, and it wasn't the city wasn't shut down yet. After I had Murray, it got shut down 2 weeks after I had her. But I was sick like a dog. I mean, sick, so sick. I couldn't even lay down flat. I had so much like phlegm or something in my throat.
Was it from COVID?
I think I had COVID. I went to like an urgent care girl. They swabbed my nose. They were like, it's not the flu. So unfortunately, you can't take Theraflu because it's not the flu. And we can't give you antibiotics because it's not a bacterial infection or something like that. They said, unfortunately, we don't know what this is.
COVID. Oh my God.
And like, unfortunately, this is something that we don't even know what this is, right? Girl, I had to sit like in a reclined position to sleep.
Yeah.
Because if I lay back, phlegm, and I would start choking. It was so bad. So, like I said, everything was like going high. We went to the Super Bowl. I think I got sick from going to the Super Bowl.
I'm sure. Super
went
spreaders.
to Miami, Super Bowl, because 49ers, we had made the Super Bowl. Went to Miami, pregnant 34 weeks at that time. Came back. I was in Atlanta, so it's not really an hour flight.
Yeah.
My doctor gave me the clear, sent me with my paperwork. He printed out all my paperwork and said, here, just take this. If you end up having to go to the hospital, go to this hospital. I already let them know, like, you'll be
Oh my God.
My doctor in Atlanta, love. My doctor here in Austin, absolutely love. I love my doctors. They are so amazing.
That's so important.
And they really looked out for me. And so after, it was just up, had the birth. So surreal. We were just looking like, we cannot believe we even had a daughter.
Yeah.
Because we lost boys before.
Yes.
So I'm like, boy, you only can spit out boys. Like, what is this? And I always dream. It's so funny. I always dreamed of having a baby girl first.
Okay.
I always wanted a girl
Oh my God,
first.
it was meant to be.
And I'm like, oh my gosh.
You
I
have
wanted
your
6
girl.
children.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that God was going to bless me with 6 children in the way that he did.
Yeah.
I got 3 boys in heaven, a daughter earthside, and 2 sons earthside. I have my 6 kids.
That's amazing.
It's
Morgan.
so crazy.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
You ask for things, you have to be very specific when you ask God for what you want. Very, very specific. And he's going to
deliver. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. So what do you want the women who pick up your book, especially the ones who feel unseen in their grief, to feel when they close the last page?
I want the woman who picks up my book and read to feel like they are not alone. Their feelings are valid. They have every right to feel the way that they do. I would also love for them to not give up and know that they can stay encouraged to keep going and keep fighting and find community and build circles of trust and talk about it. Talk about it. Share. Write it down. Go back and 5 years from now, go back and read what you wrote and reprocess that and see how much you've grown and see how much you coped and healed. See the healing process. And I think that's so beautiful to be able to go back and read your process, like, and remember like how you felt and see the growth.
It's so true. I haven't experienced a pregnancy loss, but I went through a divorce. I've gone through 2. And the first one's interesting because I overcame that, I feel like, fairly quickly because it was because of infidelity. It almost makes it's like easier in a weird way. Yeah. Whereas the one with Jackson's dad, it was more of just like unhappiness and being with a partner. There's nothing worse than like being lonely in your own marriage, right? I'd rather be single and feel lonely than like alone in a marriage.
And isolated.
And devastating. I became like a shell of myself. I was so just in such a dark place, but then had on like a smile to the rest of the world. And it's just crazy.
New mom.
Yeah.
New mom
and yes, a new mother,
and,
right? And so, because we were 2 when we got separated, or Jax was 2 when we got separated and divorced. So he was, still toddler, but oh my God, when I look back at that version of myself versus who I am today and how much like I've grown and how happy and grateful I am on the other side of it. There is something, I wish I would have journaled. I wish I would have, like, there is something to be said about being able to go back and be like, damn girl, like every day I'm proud of myself, and every day. So I know, that is just incredible, that you have something that people can go back and look at and be like, I did that. I overcame that. Look at my life now, whether it is with or, without children. It's that journey is incredible.
Yep.
As difficult as it is.
But I feel as though all of the crap, that you go through, the tragedies that you go through, it always, well, not always, but for me, and hopefully for a lot of other people, it helps change their lives and make them a better person. And not that I was a bad person, but I never had a hard loss of like a relative that I was really close to. I've never dealt with anything. My life was happy go lucky little girl just running, you know.
Right.
And I'm just college, running, first place, this, that. Didn't go through anything.
Yeah.
And so, you know, first miscarriage, I'm like, oh, whew. Yeah. Like that was crazy. But I was also in college, still under scholarship. And so I'm like, oh, God saved me, you know. Going into now I'm married, everything, we're doing things by the book, you know, we get together, we get engaged, we get married, and now it's time to build a family. And then that's when, you know, I hit rock bottom, you know. And so going through all of that now makes me the mother I am today. I'm very intentional with my children. We don't do sugars. They drink water all day. I mean, we might every now and then, maybe a party, let them have a little cupcake or a little cake or so, but it's not an everyday thing. We homeschool. We're super into like learning about nature and just being self-aware, and no iPads and things, like no phones, and just being super intentional so that I can raise my kids to be confident and know themselves before the world can tell them who they are. And exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So what's next for you now that the book is out?
What's next for me after my book has been released? I've been doing, I've done 2 book signings so far. I'll be planning a few more. I think I'm going to do 2 more in Austin, maybe a brunch style one for ladies to come and enjoy brunch while I do my read and book signing afterwards. And then I want to do something where bring women together, moms, and maybe do like some breath work or yoga or something, and then follow up with my read and my book signing at the end. But I want to do that here in Austin, and then I'm touring around in different cities. And so my upcoming cities that I'll be doing is Atlanta. I'll do Florida somewhere. I'm thinking Orlando maybe. And then I'm thinking I'm going back up to the 49ers in San Jose, San Francisco area, and doing something out that way, because that's where all of our tragic events of my pregnancy losses happened. And so the fans were so connected with him during our time that I want to go back and serve my purpose out there.
I love it.
Yeah, so I'm
Where
excited
can we
about
find
that.
your book?
You can find my book on my blog, incompetentbuthopeful.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Morgan Goodwin. I'm also on TikTok at Morgan Goodwin 84. And then I have my foundation. And my foundation, we raise funds to be able to financially support women and families who have just either had a second or third trimester pregnancy loss, a stillbirth or infant loss if their infant, 12 months and under. And we basically will provide funds for cremation and burial service funds, because a lot of people don't know that when you're sitting in a hospital and you just had to deliver your baby, watch them slowly, saying goodbye. And now the doctors and nurses are coming to you like, okay, what do you want to do? Have you found a morgue? Are you going to cremate? Or, all of these things. And it's like, oh my gosh,
you're processing.
Can I catch my breath? Like, I'm so thankful that I was, we're fortunate enough to be able to pay $2,800 to $3,000 to do like a cremation, or some people choose to do a burial, which this stuff is expensive.
Of course, yeah.
And so I wanted to be able to help women and families in need to be able to bury or cremate their baby with some dignity so that they can actually process and grieve.
Yeah. What's the name of the foundation?
the Goodwin Family Project, Hopeful
Okay.
Heart.
And how can people find that if they want to donate?
TheGoodwinFamilyProject.com. You can go and see who we're partnering with. You can donate there. And I'm also on Instagram, The Goodwin Family Project on Instagram. And we basically just want to help, build a community of women and families, and just provide some type of safety net, financial safety net for them going
That's
through their
amazing.
grieving process.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And can Amazon, Spotify, for your book, can people buy it like a hard copy in addition to digital version of it?
Yes, I have hardcover, soft covers, ebooks. I'm on Barnes and Nobles, Amazon.
Amazing.
I usually send people to my publishing company, westbowpress.com, and my book is pretty much there. You can get all whatever you like.
Congratulations. I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to see what you do next and what you put out next.
Ooh, girl, I got a pageant coming up in July.
That's right.
Actually, it's not. Yeah, it's July 12th through the 16th.
And where is that?
Las Vegas.
Okay. And what is the name of the pageant?
Miss Classic Universe.
Ooh, our girl, she's going to get it, guys. She's going to get it.
I'm competing for Contemporary Georgia. I am a Georgia girl still, even though I'm a Texas girl too.
That's right. Same here. Same
the roots
here.
is Georgia.
That's right.
So
congratulations. Thank you. And best of luck on the upcoming pageant and the success of your book. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for you. You're doing the Lord's work helping women. So thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks.